Hello, my name is Jasper Henke, and this is my DSARI home energy audit for BBE 1201. Some background information. I'm living in a 3-bedroom apartment called Falcon View. It's in Falcon Heights, Minnesota, right next to the St. Paul campus. It's 1,076 square feet. I found some information online. The average 1,000 square foot apartment uses about 708 kilowatt hours per month. This primarily comes from heating and cooling, but also 13% from appliances, which we'll be focusing on in this presentation. This can be compared to our energy usage, which was 153 kilowatt hours in February and 109 kilowatt hours in March. I think the majority of this discrepancy between our usage and the average comes from solar panels that we have on top of our building, which greatly reduces the amount of electricity that we need from Excel, from the grid. So I measured 8 devices over the course of the week. These included a box fan, microwave, electric kettle, television, floor lamp, humidifier, salt lamp, and a laptop charger. Here's a time log for each of these devices. For the devices that were used by myself and my roommates, I used a post-it note and just asked my roommates to write down the times that they started and stopped using each one of the appliances so that I could add up the total usage. For my personal appliances, I just started a stopwatch on my phone and just remembered to start the stopwatch whenever I was using it and then stopping it whenever I was turning the device off. So here's a breakdown of the 4 different measurement types that I used with an example of each. So a constant energy source is the box fan, which simply uses the same amount of electricity. So could just measure that based on the wattage that was listed on the meter here. The light I calculated, that was based on the wattage that was listed on the light bulb, which was 10 watts, 10 times 3 for 3 bulbs. And then the electric kettle, I measured the amount of kilowatt hours it used each cycle, which ended up being 0.114 kilowatt hours. And the laptop charger was variable. The amount of power it used depended on how charged the laptop was and whether or not I was using it. So here's the list from the audit table. Basically to calculate the electricity usage for the constant devices, I simply took the amount of time that or how much watts of energy the device used when it was on, calculated by the amount of hours that it was on per day to get the total watt hours a day, and then converted that into kilowatt hours a day to get these as the totals for each month. For the cycled ones, just took the amount of kilowatt hours it used each cycle for the microwave and electric kettle and multiplied that by the average amount of cycles that we used per day over the course of the week to get the totals for the days and the months. And the laptop charger, I measured the total kilowatt hours over the course of a day, or rather over the course of 32 hours, which ended up being 0.28 kilowatt hours. Divide that by 32 to get the kilowatts per hour, and then I multiplied that by 24 to get the kilowatt hours per day total, and then times 31 for the amount per month. And in addition to that, I also just measured the watts that it was using when it was running, when I was using it, and when it was charging, and then also when it was completely shut down and when it was charging. So based on that information, there's a few interesting things. For one, I actually found that it's possible to save 2.3 kilowatt hours a month simply by unplugging the microwave. This is because the light on the microwave actually ended up using slightly more electricity per month when compared to the actual energy from when we were using the microwave. which I was not expecting, but we don't microwave too often, I guess, so makes sense. But this could save a total of 7% of the total energy that I calculated from this audit. In addition, it's possible to reduce the amount of energy that's used by the laptop by shutting down the computer when it's charging, when I can do that. And yeah, this reduces the amount of watts used from 18.6 to 1.2. So here are my references, and thank you for listening to my presentation.